Just wait here. I'll be back. I promise.
Hey guys, Blue Knight here, and what you just seen, or likely already seen before clicking this video, is a snippet of the upcoming free episode prologue for Shadow Generations, the new game that's bundled with a remastered version of the original Sonic Generations, which alone features brand new content that I'll be discussing in a future video, so be sure to subscribe and ring that bell so you don't miss it. Even though it'll be months late, but at least just about everything will be neatly compiled into one video. But today, and I don't usually do this for the animated Sonic shorts, no, not those, but we're going to focus exclusively on the Dark Beginnings prologue because it ties into deciding which edition of the game to buy. And it was also kind of obvious it was coming due to every game since Sonic Mania receiving animated shorts before launch. But I don't think anyone expected it to be on this scale. Like, I just finished rewatching Sonic X recently, and just like the Knuckles Frontiers prologue, this is taking me back to the Sonic X days in 2003. Reminding me yet again why I fell in love with this series, and also wishing Sonic X looked this good. Yeah, not gonna lie, Sonic X's animation did not age the best. That might be a good or bad thing, but I'll let you decide on that. So, like the prologue suggests, let's start from the beginning. The Dark Beginning, ha! See what I did there? May 14th is when they revealed the prologue, and that anyone who attends Anime Expo will have a chance to catch a sneak peek at the prologue during the new era of Shadow, shedding light on the Ultimate Lifeform panel on July 6th. Anyone who did attend the event could pick up one of these amazing posters, showing off some of the characters that'll appear in the prologue. As for those who couldn't attend the event for one reason or another, the event was live streamed and the Sonic community practically exploded with joy immediately afterward. The panel was hosted by Zeno Robinson, who's apparently a pretty well-known voice actor who I've never heard of before this, creative officer at Sonic Team, Takashi Iizuka, Kirk Thornton, Shadow's current VA since Sonic Free Riders in 2010, who explains that he's actually able to give Shadow more emotional depth this time around, cause, and I'm heavily paraphrasing here, he wasn't able to go as deep with the character before, and only recently started learning about Shadow's story. As a result, he sounds really good as Shadow for the first time since Forces.
Worthless. Don't show your pathetic face around me ever again. Professor Gerald made me the ultimate life form. I should be the key to all manner of medicines, curing you.
And then there's Stephanie Sheh, the voice actress best known for Sailor Moon, is now the new VA for Maria Robotnik. Not only is this Maria's first appearance in the overall franchise in almost 2 decades, with Sonic Movie 3 to follow soon after, but this will also be her third English VA since her debut. And might I say, she absolutely nails the role of Maria.
That robot was heading towards Grandfather's lab! Shadow, you have to save him!
Easily the best VA Maria's ever had. She also voiced Xena from Sonic Lost World, and I probably made a mistake bringing up that game's existence.
Oh, you're gonna pay for that!
These 3 were the special guests of the panel and answered a few of your questions you might have had about the game, so long as you left them under the announcement tweet before May 31st. Sorry Sam, guess you'll have to get your answer when you get the official journal on launch day. Unlike the Knuckles prologue for Frontiers, which was animated by Powerhouse Animation Studios, probably best known for the Castlevania Nocturne and the upcoming Tomb Raider Netflix series, knocked this animation way out of the park. It was that good. This time around though, Dark Beginnings will be animated by Studio Gigex, whose directors were also at the panel, discussing in great detail about the process they had for making this free episode prologue. Their website's currently under renovation, but this studio was partially responsible for both the rise of the TMNT show and Netflix film, neither of which I've seen outside of a few clips here and there, but it's honestly pretty impressive. I can clearly see why people love this show and won't shut up about it. And from what we've seen of this prologue so far, this is about to become the best Sonic animation hands down. And we're getting free episodes of this, are you kidding me? We obviously have no idea how long each are gonna be, but considering they're being referred to as episodes and not parts like the previous multi-part shorts, I'd imagine these will be a bit longer than previous animations. Rise of the Wisps and Team Sonic Racing Overdrive's individual parts are about 5 to 6 minutes each, adding up to about 10 to 11 minutes overall, while the Knuckles prologue was only about 6 minutes in total. Since there's a major focus on story in Dark Beginning, this could easily wind up being the longest short we've gotten, even with all of them combined, and I wouldn't be complaining if it came close to having a 20-minute length. Speaking of which, while we don't know the exact release schedule for these prologue episodes, it is safe to assume they'll drop one every week, roughly 3 weeks leading up to launch, like what happened with Colors, Mania, and TSR. However, even with these 3 combined, this will not be the full version, as every edition of the PS4 and PS5 versions of the game will feature an exclusive extended version of the prologue, with deleted scenes that I assume won't be featured in the YouTube releases. Honestly, don't really know why this needed to be a PlayStation exclusive deal, cause I'm pretty sure this complete version will unofficially be uploaded to YouTube within 24 hours of release, given, I don't know, the fact every modern console has a built-in capture feature nowadays. But hey, at least they'll actually be included with the game this time. Anyway, the complete version of the prologue will be available on October 25th, for physical PS5 and standard digital PS4 and PS5 editions. But if you pre-order the digital PS4 or PS5 deluxe editions, you'll get access to both games and the prologue 3 days early on October 22nd, roughly 2 months before Sonic Movie 3 premieres. There's a bunch of other goodies, but I'm gonna save those for the next video. So let's shift gears to some behind the scenes details about the short. It's written by Ian Flynn, the same guy who wrote the IDW Sonic comics, Sonic Frontiers, and its Knuckles prologue animation. This was confirmed during the panel, so it's already gonna be gold. The studio wanted to blend both Western and Japanese animation together to create something unique that made it stand out from previous Sonic animations. And so far, it's working wonderfully. Why do we not have a full Sonic movie that mixes 2D and 3D animation like this? This would be so awesome. The team also wanted to focus more on the tone of the short, letting it feel more mature and emotional, and didn't want it feeling too cartoony or animated. Again, I'm paraphrasing cause I cannot for the life of me find an archived version of a panel stream anywhere. I think there's something wrong with that picture if you cannot find an archived version of the stream. Longtime Sonic composer Tomoya Otani will not be making music or sound effects for the short. Instead, he'll be assisting with the audio production. Yeah, listening to this preview with headphones, it is top notch. There's no denying that he did assist with this. And finally, Sega gave the VAs a chance to come into the studio to re-record their lines multiple times because of the amount of adjustments the overall team was making to cutscenes, gameplay, and I think this even applies to the prologue as well. So this is a pretty rare thing to happen in an effort to make sure everything is
just right.
Now onto the actual clip that was shown. Not the zoomed in one that was shown during the panel, I'm talking about the HD version on YouTube. I really don't know whose bright idea that was, but it was a terrible idea. But thankfully we do have the HD version on YouTube right now, because oh my gosh, this is so much better. One of the main things on display here is a side of Shadow that we rarely ever seen before. A Shadow that isn't the edgy loner or the antagonistic rival to Sonic who lacks personality we've known him to be for the past decade or so. Here, he's frustrated that he can't fulfill his purpose in curing Maria of her illness, showing a sense of emotion and caring about someone, something we've only seen small glimpses of in past media. Same goes for the Ark incident, which seems like we're getting a more thorough breakdown of the events that took place that day, instead of bits and pieces of the event through Shadow's memories. To the point we're even seeing Emerl, the Gizzoloid, for the first time in 19 years, with his last physical appearance in the series being the Sonic X episode Wild Wind from Season 2 when it aired in the US way back in 2005. And little did I know that this is actually expanding on established lore from Sonic Battle. A game that I'm 90% convinced most people never played, myself included, and are only familiar with the lore from the main games cause that's all I've ever seen anyone talk about. And I possibly just assumed Sonic X adapted most of that game's story in Season 2, except for Shadow's inclusion. Boy was I wrong, and now I fully have reason to believe Emerl will be a boss fight in Shadow's campaign. If it happens, it'll mark his first ever 3D game appearance, as well as his first ever 3D model. Also, PlayStation name-dropped Sonic Battle on their blog back when the game got announced in January, and now I feel like a complete idiot for not noticing this foreshadowing. However, I do want to shout out Chalmix for pointing out that this prologue, while taking inspiration from Sonic Battle's lore, is actually retconning that game and making Emerl more involved with Shadow's origin story, when both characters didn't have that much to do with each other originally. So it might be safe to say that Sonic Battle is now non-canon? I don't know. There is a point in the clip where Shadow seemingly has a vision, a glimpse into the future and what looks to be a bunch of gun soldiers. Not only do they resemble the ones from Shadow 05's intro cutscene, but they do have these faces marked on them, and kinda reminds me of one of those Joker-themed unlockables in multiverses. Whether or not Black Doom is doing this remains to be seen, but naturally this leaves him disturbed for a second before snapping back to the present. Now I don't know when this thing about Shadow having visions became a thing, cause Sonic Prime was the first time I ever noticed it, and I haven't seen it anywhere else. Not gonna lie though, this animation is just so good. From the camera angles, the lighting, everything here is just so dang good. All the way down to the sound design too, like, these people understood the assignment if they're paying attention to every single detail, with something as small as the sound Shadow's air shoes make when activated being a bullet point in the panel discussion. Studio Gigex is a top 5 animation studio and I don't care who disagrees with me. Sega, let them make a Sonic TV show, I beg of you. Final point of the video before heading out is the aforementioned poster Anime Expo attendees were able to pick up at the panel. On it, we see the rocket from Sonic Adventure 2 that leads to the Ark, Gerald Robotnik after he was captured, as we see him during his final recorded message at the end of Sonic Adventure 2 and Shadow's arc in Sonic X. Maria and Emerl. It's crazy how these three and Black Doom haven't been around for almost 2 decades, and they're all coming back for this project. Such a good timeline. And of course, Rouge the Bat and E123 Omega, forming the whole Team Dark crew. Now, since there's 3 episodes of this prologue, and since this is sort of meant to be a recap of Shadow's history up to Generation's point in the timeline, that we're going to see the before, during, and aftermath of the Ark raid. Maybe some Adventure 2, Heroes, and Shadow 05 events? Considering E123 debuted in Heroes, and Black Doom in Shadow 05, it would make sense to do it, but the last episode is very likely not going to focus on any event from previous games, and just gonna purely focus on getting Shadow to where he is at the beginning of his Generations campaign. And since E123 will be in the prologue and possibly Shadow's campaign, I'm willing to bet that he'll appear during the reworked Endgame Generations cutscenes. Now you might notice that Black Doom is missing from this poster, which tells me that he won't be present in the prologue, and is only being saved for the game, but I could be wrong. Only time will tell, and I'm telling you that's basically everything we know about the Dark Beginnings prologue for Shadow Generations. It's made me even more excited for the game, but what do you guys think? Are you excited for the prologue and all these characters returning? Be sure to leave everything down in the comments section below, and don't forget to subscribe and ring that bell for more Sonic and Shadow Generations updates. As always, I've been Blue Knight. Thank you so much for watching and for the constant support, I really do appreciate it, and I'll see you guys back here next time.